Whilst I love dioramas, they're not exactly practical for playing on if you're playing a tabletop game. So in this video, I'm trying to get the best of both worlds. I've tacked end boards onto my tabletop terrain. I was inspired by the Shatterpoint demo table at Adepticon. You can see it here. It's got some great looking end features that just never get played on. I wanted to do something similar, but with lava. On the left, lava falls with machinery. On the right, something a little bit more modular, and the Duel, the high ground Duel. And in the middle, the dark keep, where a certain dark lord resides. So I got busy designing. First up, I needed something to hang all the lava off. These are quite big chunky pieces, so I just needed something to sit behind them. And because I'm printing in 3D filament using loads of clips, that's what I did. Boxes with various clip holes on that I can clip together. Now the left-hand side lava waterfall is a set sort of model. You can't change it at all. The dark keep you could make higher or lower depending on what you fancy. And the right-hand side dual board is completely modular. You could make it as tall or as small, as wide or as short as you like. The only thing I did do was I printed any of the support blocks that need to be behind the lava in clear filament so that I can light it and it will glow through. These blocks though, I want them to disappear, so I painted them black. But first I had to mask off any areas that I wanted that light to glow through. I just used kitchen roll. Before I painted everything, I checked I had every piece. And of course, like normal, I was missing 4. So there's actually about 2 weeks now where I go away, print them, do other things, and then we come back to the project. We're back to the fun bit, the lava. Now, each of these actually paint slightly differently. This is the lava falls on the left, and it's designed in one piece. It's split for printing, but it is effectively one design, and you have to print it as it is in this 4x4 grid with these 4 ones at the top. And as a result, it's got rock and lava mixed in. So you have to be able to paint down the lines and create the rock and lava separately. But it means I can't just spray paint anything black. Some of it has to be lava and some of it has to be hand painted black. I kept this one piece of lava together so that when I paint it, I don't get odd streaks ending at the ends of each of the blocks. But for the modular lava, I could just paint that as it was because it's modular. Talking of painting, I broke out the airbrush and put on a coat of SMS Scale Model Supply fluorescent orange. It's pre-mixed lacquer paint. It's very easy to go on, and because it's lacquer, it sticks beautifully. It's a great base coat for what I want to print next. And these are quite detailed. I'm not going to get it into every crack with just one coat. Lava is different to most things you will paint in life. Instead of being darker in the dimples and divots, it's brighter, it's yellow, it's hotter because it's nearer the core. So what you need to do is actually put the brightest colours in the depths, and if you're going to dry brush the darker colours. So that's what I did. I put pale fluorescent yellow, just a normal fluorescent yellow artist acrylic paint, heavily diluted with water and brushed into every single crack. And then it was time to paint the rocks. Now these ones are on the one piece lava falls on the left. They took a bit of time because I have to get all of that black lava dark grey. It's a mix of black and warm grey acrylic artist paints. I had to get all of that into the nooks and crannies so that the light didn't shine through it. But the other side, the right-hand falls, which is completely modular, that was generally so much easier. Because it's modular, it's either lava or it's rock. The only bits that I had to worry about was where the lava met the rock. So you can see here, the black pieces were all taken outside and spray painted with spray primer black. Very quick, very easy, great base coat. Sadly, though, there are some pieces where the rock meets the lava and I had to hand paint those. Any rocks that are like stepping stones or floating in the lava, they only need a dry brush on top because we actually want some of that lava colour to show through in the cracks. Talking of dry brushing, I'm thinking of renaming it wet brushing because I'm not taking a lot of paint off my brush when I do this. I went over the rocks. I did it in 2 stages. First of all, I went over the top rocks, which were black, with the dark grey to add quite a lot of colour in there because I need them to match the ones I've literally just painted dark grey. And then I went over everything with a lighter warm grey to bring out the details. And this is more like a traditional dry brushing where you try and catch the tops of everything. It brings out the detail that's in the print, casting, whatever. But I didn't stop at dry brushing. The rock faces, I also dry brushed a dark orange. This is mixed for my previous set of terrain tiles, so you can look at all the colours there, but this is like a darker orange. It's got a bit of red, maybe a bit of brown in there, a bit of fluorescent orange, and I dry brushed that over all of the lava areas to really make the tops of them a little bit darker, as if it's cooler. Given this is a lava falls, I don't want to go too dark though, so it's mostly all going to be bright oranges. And I just clipped it all together, and before you knew it, I had 2 lava falls, but they're just not really glowy enough. We can make them glow just a little bit more. And for that, we're going to use LED strip. Now, I've done this in 3 previous videos, so I'm not going to go into any details. You can check them out. They're in the playlist. But there is a difference. This is a white LED strip like I used in the first video, and so I need to put orange cellophane over it to avoid getting any white hotspots coming through on the lava. Having spent ages poking cellophane down the hole where the LEDs run, I discovered it was easier to wrap the LEDs and then put them in. But soon it was done, and it was time to turn my attention to the dark keep, which did start life as a pile of pieces too. It's built very much like the first 2 pieces, so I won't go into detail, but on this I wanted a smoother finish, so I did do a coat of spray putty, a couple of coats first, and I sprayed it all together to try and minimise the gaps. To be honest, you can still see them, but they're black, so they don't show that much. Just like before, I'd masked off the lava so it wouldn't get sprayed black. This time I also then went and masked off the black and sprayed the lava. Satisfying. Oh, so satisfying. A little bit of yellow fluorescent paint and dry brushing did the job, and don't forget there's also a glowing interior lava pool and channel through the dark keep. Now, exciting as lava is, and it glows, I feel you need people to bring something to life. But I suck at painting faces, so I normally do clones. They're easy, you just put a helmet on them, so much easier. But for this, I wanted to do the high ground duel, you know, the lava duel that happens in Revenge of the Sith. So for that, I need Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And as I've got a dark keep, I felt like I needed a Vader. And then Darkfire Designs did a Guardian for a temple, and I wanted to print that model. And that model's 35mm. Kind of wish I'd printed at 40, but the other models are from Shatterpoint, and I love the aesthetic of Shatterpoint minis. I just love how they look. Clone Wars is my favourite Star Wars, and they're straight from there. Absolutely love them to bits. So I've got the Anakin Skywalker from the core set. I've got the Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Hello There set, and I've got the Vader from the Duel pack, which also comes with a sort of Kenobi from the Kenobi show. And I might do a video on painting that plastic diorama. It's basically a plastic diorama, and adding details to make it look less plasticky. Let me know if you'd like that in the comments below. But for now, I assembled all those minis, I 3D printed the Guardian, and basically got them ready to paint. Started off with airbrush coats. Now, much as I love rattle cans for terrain, I would never use one on a mini if I could avoid it, because they just put so much coat down. It's easy to get rid of the details, especially on something like this. So I've got a few other Shatterpoint minis I was priming. I primed everything with Mr. Surfacer white primer. It's a Mr. Hobby colour, it's a lacquer, sticks beautifully, gives a nice, even, very fine coat. Can't recommend it enough. The only minis I didn't do in white were Vader and the Guardian, which I did in black. All of my minis have Mr. Hobby Tire Black as the rim colour, so I sprayed that while I was at it. Vader and the Guardian got a full coat of that. Now, I am a scale modeller at heart. I love just painting things the colour they should be and letting the lighting do all the hard work. So when it came to painting Vader, I didn't want to paint him with NMM or whatever, the OSL or any of that. I wanted to paint his helmet gloss black. So that's exactly what I did. I painted any area of him that wouldn't be just pure matte with a gloss black. Beautiful, absolutely love it. It's an all-clad gloss black if you're wondering. I did have a whole bottle that dried out, but thankfully I had a small bottle left that was fresh, and the all-clad gloss black does spray beautifully. It's also a lacquer. And completely random aside, the yellow thing is a fidget popper that someone recommended to me. They said it was great for any of the contrast speed paints or any paint you don't want to put on a wet palette, and when it's dry you can just pop out the paint. So I'm giving it a go, and so far so good. Now in good light, a slightly off black with black glossy bits, Vader looks fine, but if you put it in a low light or on a table, it can just suck the light. Anyway, out come the reference pictures, and on go the speed paints. I did all of the minis with speed paints to speed things up, but to be honest, the more I use them, the less I like them. They're great, they're quick, they're great for something like a B1 droid that just needs a bit of colouring on them, but I find they oversaturate the shadows. They get deeper and darker in all the crevices, where sometimes that's not what I want. So jury's still out for me. I did use them extensively here, and then I probably repainted over 90% of it. Thus endeth the first day. And on the second day, I decided that I was just going to paint Vader with a little bit of a dark grey. It's a black grey by Vallejo as a base coat, because I'd been out the night before and one of the guys there had got his Vader painted up from this set, and he'd done it grey with a black speed or contrast paint over the top. And I thought, oh, I quite like that effect. So I tried it. It doesn't give a huge amount of contrast. I probably would have gone with a lighter grey if I wanted that. But it starts off with this black grey. And painting continued. Now, to be honest, on the second day, I mostly changed the colours by putting washes over things or repainted in proper paints as opposed to speed paints. But by the end of the day, I did have figures that were starting to look a little better. Vader's cloak got the black speed paint all over it. And I painted the bases with a lava effect, mostly just fluorescent orange in the cracks. To me, a black panel liner brings out any surface details, being careful not to get it in the cracks. And so on to Vader. Now, following my premise that I'm going to paint him, in inverted commas, in the sort of shine levels that you might expect to see, but not to actually paint the light in. The helmet's in gloss, the cloak is now in a mattish, it's got a slight sheen to it, but a mattish finish. And it just needs his body sorting. It's kind of a pleather, fake leather kind of vibe going on there. And leather, that kind of black shiny leather you might see on motorbike leathers and certainly on Darth Vader, has a gleam to it. So if I painted it matte, it might be too matte. It's already glossed, I've painted it with a gloss coat. So I decided to go over it with a satin varnish. This would leave room for it to catch some of the lights in photos. Actually, the satin just looked like gloss, so I ended up going over it again with a matte varnish to get the effect that I wanted. Vader's base will wait for his proper painting when it goes on the desert, so for now it's staying in black. And then I was done. Time to put it all together. And here we have it. The Dark Guardian looks on as two Jedi Knights battle it out. Which will be victorious? Will it be Kenobi? Or will Anakin defeat his former master? They battle along the river until they come to a giant waterfall. Let's hope they don't go off the edge. Whilst Kenobi is victorious, Anakin becomes the Dark Lord, ruling from his dark keep, alone on the planet, the lava planet of Mustafar. This won't be the only time they fight, but it might be the most memorable. Well, I had great fun making this, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. You can get these M boards on my Kickstarter that is currently running. It's just about to finish, so if you want them, pop along there. It will be available for late pledge afterwards. And if not, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. But remember, Kickstarter link down below.